funny. I mean, you have done the cast here,
Yes.
and you've also done it in London, correct?
Actually, I did the UK tour.
You did the UK tour.
Yeah.
Okay. You've been, I can't count that high.
It's been amazing. I started on Broadway. I was the original standby, which was crazy, and it was kind of an interesting sort of thing because I don't usually stand by, but I knew I knew the genie, what was happening, and I loved James Monroe, who originated the genie. We were brothers, so it was. I was
really
like,
nice to
okay,
hear.
like, all right, great. I knew what was happening, which is what I did it, and I left and did a show in between that, and came back. They had me open Australia, up in Sydney and Melbourne. I was there for 19 months, which was unbelievable, and
That's a run.
life-changing, wonderful experience. And then I opened in Los Angeles so I technically joined the North American tour.
Oh, wow.
Opened in Los Angeles, did it for like 3 months there, toured around for a few more months, and then they had me go to London, which was crazy and wonderful. And it was my second show on the West End, which was also like insane. I didn't expect to be going back to London, which I love London. It's just a beautiful place.
Just so we're all on the same page.
Now I'm back home, and now I'm on Broadway for the 5th anniversary. So now I'm back.
Fifth
It's
anniversary,
crazy. Yeah.
25th year of Disney on Broadway.
Right.
Something questionably magical is happening. Very suspicious.
Doing well.
Something it's too
Something's
too
going
good.
on.
Something's good.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
So was there something different that each of you kind of had to bring when you were either coming back to Broadway or bringing it to Broadway? Did you change anything, or was it just a different setting?
I think you've hit it. It's different setting. It's like very exciting, really
Yeah.
exciting to come out. Because when you're in the West End, it's like Broadway. It's like wow. So to be asked, at all to come over is like such a wonderful thing to happen. So grateful. And then I was terrified when I got over here because I thought these people have been here for quite a long time, but they were so warm, so welcoming. The show had been running for 19 and a half years. And I was just like, what am I going to find? And they were awesome.
Oh no.
Just wonderful people, really sort of, arms forward, like, let's see what you've got.
Right.
Oh
But
god.
actually, it wasn't like that at all. They were so kind and generous.
And really just welcoming.
Yeah.
They're also probably petrified of you. You come in a scar. Don't mess with me.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, how is it for you? I feel like your character could evolve each night. You just
Yeah, I mean, it was weird to have I took a break from the genie for a year. I did a Broadway show called Something Rotten between that. So I sort of went away from it, and then I came back into it, which was kind of crazy. And it was then that I kind of had a bit of a light bulb switch that happened for me in terms of remembering the sort of like young, chubby chocolate kid from Orlando, Florida, who did not give a care in the world and just was himself.
Right.
And it's I've talked about this before, where it was literally an aha moment of like that. What I didn't know would be the thing that would like kind of come back to me in terms of like a successful sort of new thing in my career that I didn't really expect to happen.
Okay.
Which is sort of like this sort of going back to your authentic self.
Yeah.
And that was the switch that I think that really happened for me in the role. And then I just got to take in all of these other people around me and beautiful castmates and company members. It was just amazing. And then coming back to Broadway was like coming home. I mean, I was coming home.
Right.
My career has been 16 years on Broadway. So to come back home was unbelievable in this role.
Yeah.
And I was 3 years out of New York City, which is the first time I had been out of the city for that long. So it was like the craziest thing to come back to it and feel empowered and welcomed from so many friends in the community. It's a beautiful moment, and I won't ever forget it because it reminds me to go back to that thing that I loved so much about, I don't know, who I was as a little boy. It was just this wonderment.
It was a forced refresh, it sounds like. I love that.
And now we're here. It's great. I mean, it's wonderful. I'm very, very blessed.
All right, good.
Thankful.
My cheeks are hurting from smiling. This is too much.
All right.
So, Noah, tell me, how was
Yeah.
it coming in to I mean, Frozen kind of hit the box office as a movie.
Yeah,
It
right?
swept.
I mean, crazy.
It was wild. It was right up there with Toy Story, which I do consider new age.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yes, Toy
unbelievable.
Story.
Were there any surprises coming in on it on Broadway? Like when you first stepped on, how were the feelings / how does it translate to now being a solid Kristoff?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I've had a very interesting journey with the show. So they like hyper rushed the show so we could get it to Broadway because it was such a hit.
Yeah.
And so with that came like an immense amount of pressure just to get it right. And so we did our out of town in Denver. So I started in the original cast as an ensemble member,
Over there.
understudying the role of Kristoff. And so I did it out of town. We brought it back. We opened it on Broadway, and in going towards the second year, they asked me to take over the role. So I was very honored to have that. I know that's something that doesn't happen much. We talked a little bit about that. And so it was really awesome because the creative team kind of encouraged me to make it my own. And so
Yeah.
I had to do what Michael said, like dig into my authentic self and forget all that understudy stuff and just make it my own. So it's been really great. It's been a really great journey to kind of take that on and take ownership of this awesome role.
I mean, how does it feel watching someone else do a part that you're like, I could do that. I want to do that.
Yeah, I
like
think that-
you're so happy for the person, but at the
Right.
same time, you're like, but if you called out tomorrow, I'm just saying, I got it covered.
I think that's one of the special things about actors. Like every single person brings something so unique to the role that cannot be like manipulated, you know. So everyone does their thing so great, but it was really nice to just take over and do my thing.
Yeah.
And really live in that for sure.
Get to like wipe the slate clean,
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
homage, and then do your own thing.
Yeah.
I like
Well, there's new
that.
energy that happens with that. You know, with a cover coming on, it's exciting when you're playing the part, and then the cover, like your main person who you're with most of the show, the cover's on, and you have to really, it changes it up for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Immediately,
Really listen.
and you're like, okay, like you know, it's just a different energy, and it's wonderful. It's just, it's different, and it really forces you to just change. You have to change it up for yourself, and that's as an actor, you should be doing that. And if you're
Right.
not doing that, then that's not good. You know what I mean?
If
Like.
it gets stale for you, it's
like,
gonna get
you
stale
know,
Yeah.
for whomever's
it's like-
watching. You
And
can't-
it is wonderful with Disney because they do encourage you to bring yourself into it. I've been in shows before, especially if you're understudying, they want you to be exactly like the person that plays the
Oh,
part.
okay.
But with Disney, you know, when I you know first got the role, I was really nervous that I'd have to do it like everybody else before. But they were so encouraging to bring yourself and whatever you wanted to do. And we did. We made quite a few changes with the help of John Stefanick, the associate director, and it was amazing. But you know, just changing it up every night, having somebody new coming on is wonderful for, you know, longevity. Being in a show
Yeah.
for like 2 or 3 years, doing it every night is like having something different. It's wonderful.
You're creating a
Keeps
show
you
where
going.
people can just come back. There's no such thing as I've seen it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's never.
it
never
keeps
done.
refreshing.
Yeah.
So, what about other things that I imagine would wake me up if I had the honor of being on that stage ever? I went to musical high school, it didn't work out, everything's fine. What if you know there's a celebrity in the audience? Does that ever? I mean, I feel like some people want to know, some people don't want to know. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
I don't like knowing.
You don't
I don't
like
like
knowing.
anyone's in the audience. I like just the wash of audience. It's just like there is an audience out there. That's
It's
all
no
you're going to
face.
get. But I don't want any face. If I got friends in,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm really nervous. Or people, you know, Angelina Jolie was in, you know, just a short while ago. And it's
Right.
like, I was like, I don't want to know. Because then I'm just thinking about that person, and suddenly I can't walk properly.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like walking or talking is
Yeah.
really difficult. Just, I'm happy to know it's just an audience.
And to that point, I totally agree, except one time we have celebrity seats, and so you always know where they
No,
are.
that's
yeah.
almost evil.
Yes.
Surprise me.
And
Yeah.
then one day I just looked out, and who's there but Beyonce?
Yeah.
And there's no turning back at that
Yeah.
point. I mean, you see her, and you can't not see her. And so she was there. She was in white. She was basically glowing.
Oh, she was asking
Yeah.
for it.
She was
I'm
asking for
sorry.
it.
You showed up in all white as Beyonce.
So anytime I didn't have
Celebrity seat.
lines or I didn't have to do something down front, I was just out of the corner of my eye, like just checking her out. I mean, gosh,
You can't not.
how do you not?
good.
How do you not?
We
Yeah.
because the elephant comes down, you know, we got the
Yeah.
elephant, and then the 3 principal hyenas and a swing are manning the
Yeah.
elephant in all the legs. The Shenzi, the hyena, comes off, and she tells me immediately who's in because she walks past those seats, and she tells me, I don't want to know.
Like, be in character already.
Right.
Don't tell me.
It doesn't
this.
bother me. I'm like.
It doesn't affect you?
No, not at
Ooh.
all. I actually think I maybe get the only time I'm always like, oh, is when my fiance's there.
That'll, aw.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Aw.
Like I'm still like, he's also a director, so it's a little,
Oh.
I'm like,
Yes,
Works
my
on
How
wife's a
dare you.
director as well,
Your
and
wife
when
is?
she comes in,
You
I
guys,
don't
you
want her to
masochists.
go
that's what I'm
anymore.
saying. I'm always like, oh gosh, because
always
even if
get
I don't
notes
ask,
afterwards.
even if I don't ask for notes, he's gonna give me the notes.
Oh, God.
He's gonna give me some notes. But it's all, you know. I mean, it's also lovely to. It's fun to have the conversation, and you know.
Take out Broadway. Take Broadway away from your life. What defines what you are, what you like to do? Like, if you weren't doing it right now, do you know where you think you would be? Like, the different hobbies you like to pursue? You have such an it takes over. There's no, you guys have to go to
We're
bed
all
at
like-
a certain time.
Yeah.
You have to eat
I
well.
mean,
I'm vamping.
It's a great.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a great question because
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is, it
really.
is.
It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
I remember when I early on in career, I was a big. I was like, I was 19. I stood by for Ben Vereen in Fosse, and he is was like the pinnacles. I mean, he's a legend,
Yeah.
person, just legend, man of color, you know. And he would make me come to the theater 3 hours before each show, and we would I'm not even joking, we would go over material together. He just I want you by me. It was like this whole thing. So took me under his wing. And he said to me, something I'll never forget, he said, don't ever make theater your life, make it a part of your life. And I was like, I didn't really understand what that meant
Right.
until years later of him saying, don't make it your life, make it a part of your life. And as I started to sort of realize, I you know, it was another aha moment in the sense of that there is so much life that is happening, and we are so blessed and lucky to get to do this job
Yeah.
that it puts it all into perspective. And so then I started to really think about other things, and for me it would be teaching. So
Teaching.
that would
Okay.
Stole
be
my answer.
Okay, we can
it
share
would be
so many
teaching.
teachers.
Teachers are so
We
important.
can all be teachers.
Yeah.
That's how we're here, and I mean
Yeah.
that's how I'm here, and I'm so for me it would be teaching, and it would specifically teaching inner city kids or you know, kids who are, you know, can't have the means to be able to get fierce training.
Right.
I would love to do that. That would be what I would do.
That sounds amazing.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Goodbye.
I'll sign up for your class. Again, another
Next.
poof moment. Disappears.
Something
Who
noble.
wants to go next?
I don't know. I mean, to that point, mine also would be teaching. But,
Yeah.
but before that, I was like this when I was deciding what I wanted to do with my life.
It's everyone's favorite part of their life.
Right. I was like, it really was be a plastic surgeon
Oh,
or be an actor.
plastic surgeon.
I know.
I don't think I've ever heard that
Wow.
balance
And
before.
I really, it was like, I really wanted to do it for so long in my life. I wanted to do reconstructive plastic surgery and help people, victims basically, burn victims and things like that, to regain their confidence and for the rest of their life. So I know that's a very hard.
Listen, I am in a car with Disney Broadway legends and saints. Protect this vehicle at all costs. Unbelievable.
Great.
I'm a little less saintly.
I can't wait to hear this one.
Well, no, if I was a really good artist, that's what I'd want to be. I want to be a painter.
Because you do, right?
What?
You do draw.
I do a bit, yes, but if I was really good, I'd love to be on a big mountain and surrounded by nobody and just paint oil. I would do some noble things, maybe. I would probably gift my art
That's
for charity.
a big deal.
I mean, that's a lie. I just want lots of money.
This is the most Scar answer ever, and I'm so happy about it. That's that. Listen, I am not disappointed by it at all. Oh,
Oh, we already.
Oh.
that was the quickest hour of my
Are we doing
life.
this tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I borrow the keys? Can I'll drive it. Or it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for letting me join you in this.
Yay! A round of applause.
Yay! Disney on
For
Broadway,
Sam.
25
A round of
years.
applause.
Thank you for the ride. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. We're back.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes, the best or nothing.